What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of She or They with Kittens. I'm Kittens, and today I've got my friend HINA on with me. HINA's everything. They're so funny and so smart, and just like honestly, one of my favorite people that I've met in the last few years. I actually came across them on TikTok, and I feel like I've said that a few times, but I've made some good friends on social media, so whatever. But anyways, came across their content, thought they were super witty and intelligent and funny, and we just ended up getting along. So Hina's a content creator and a writer, and they're super talented and super smart and super funny, and I just adore them. So we are going to get into all kinds of stuff around representation in media because they make all these like little bits on TikTok and like their content that is so funny and smart and well written. And it's like what I wish we had as far as representation of lesbians and lesbian culture in media. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about dating stuff and astrology and the super blue moon that we just had and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm really excited for this episode. We're going to start right now. But before we do, make sure you like and subscribe and follow, and come find me on Instagram at she, her, they, and at I am kittens. And check out the website because on there, we've got a mailing list and the playlist is linked, which is on Spotify, but the playlist is linked on the website too. I just updated it. There's tons of amazing new music, and you can find all that on the website at sheherthey.com. And yeah, let's get into today's episode with Hina. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good now that we got our tech under control. Let me just like quadruple check. Okay, yeah.
Hello. Gorgeous.
Yeah, we can
no
hear.
echo.
Beautiful. Okay. Hair ready. Face
Hair.
ready.
Face card never declined. Let's go.
Okay. Fucking hell. That was chaotic.
Honestly, this is what I get for telling girls on the first date that I work in tech because I don't want to explain what I do for a living. It really put it to the test today. Because I really
actually say you work in tech.
Well, girl, what sounds worse? I'm a TikTok content creator, or I work in tech. Like if you're like, oh, I work in tech, people don't ask questions. They're like, oh, cool. And that's
really?
the end of that.
Ask more questions.
No. People are like, that's a dumb job. It's like, it's STEM. Like we don't know anything about that. So like they just won't ask any questions.
Oh my God. And then later when it comes out that you like create content, what's the
Well,
response?
technically I do work in tech because I'm working on a tech platform.
Yeah, you're engaging with tech.
I'm engaging with tech daily. So I'm like, I am working in a tech. It's not a lie. Usually after maybe the second date, they're like, so tell me more about your job. And then I go, well, I make videos. And then like every date you just get like one more piece of information. It's like
crumbs. They're getting crumbs.
I just get crumbs. My job is like my biggest mystery.
The gag though is they could literally just
Google me.
Like be a good gay and do a full entire lurk prior to date number 1.
100%. Yeah.
I just realized we like jumped into everything without doing like a little intro.
Oh.
So in case
hi guys.
This,
you like jump in, we're like, where are we?
We're just throwing this in. Can you introduce yourself, your name, what you do, and pronouns?
Hi, my name is Hina. I work in tech, and my pronouns are they, them. In seriousness, I make content about being a lesbian and just poking fun at our silly little community, and hopefully spreading queer joy in the process. Also, if you hear my neighbor playing piano in the background, just let that be like, just let it be like the, background music, the ambiance. Yeah. It's really good. Love him. A gay couple lives next door to me and it's everything to me. I'm like, what's in the LGBT complex?
Oh my God. Is your whole neighborhood just like magically queer?
Well, there is a lesbian that walks her little Coco dog. You know what I mean? Like the little fluffy white dogs. She walks her little Coco dog down the street, and like she's definitely a lesbian. Like there is no doubt in my mind that that's a lesbian. It's like the hair, it's the outfit, it's the jorts. Like I'm like that's a lesbian.
Oh, like full grown like Butch Dyke
Full, yeah,
vibes
butch
or
dyke,
like
but like
granola?
a butch dyke in like her like late 20s that walks her
Got
Coco.
it.
Yeah, but she's like
Mhm.
fully in her like dykey dyke little behavior.
I love that.
And yeah, the first day that I ever lived here, I was up early for whatever reason. I was taking my dog out for a walk, and we kind of like just
Mhm.
had a standoff in the street. And I was like,
Yeah.
so are you the neighborhood lesbian? Because I'm here now too.
Oh my God, you get in a battle. You get in a
Yeah,
battle for
a
it.
turf war.
I don't think there's any like notable gays in my building, which, or if they are, they're like hermit gays that you just don't see like
Yeah.
in the room, you know?
I feel like there's a lot more hermit gays, especially lesbians. I feel like lesbians are like cicadas, and I've always said this. They come out once every 17 years, and when they come out, they're screaming. Like, that's just who we are as a species. And
Not
so
the fucking
we
cicada.
are cicadas. Like that
Oh
I'm
my
getting a
God.
chest piece of a cicada in honor of my community. But honestly, like it's so crazy because every time at Pride, it's like there's lesbians everywhere. Every woman is just making out with other girly
Yeah.
pops. And I'm like, where have you been this whole
All
time? And then
year.
all
Yeah.
year long. And then you come out during this 1 month and then never to be seen again.
Yeah. Oh my God. I
It's
mean, honestly,
incredible.
that's why it's so fascinating that there's this whole like lesbian bar just decline in general.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, where do lesbians go? Where do we meet the lesbians? And why aren't there more lesbian bars? Because, babe, no one goes out.
No
Like,
one does.
you have to get the private dinner party invite.
Yes.
You have to get the movie night invite. You have to get the like
Mm-hmm.
pottery night invite.
The pottery
You know,
night.
like they're
Yeah.
coveted invites,
They
but
are. And
heck
like
of luck.
that's how I meet lesbians. It's like, come over for like a game night. And I'm like,
Yeah.
period. I'm
Yeah.
in. Come to a
Throw on
dinner party.
the
Yeah. I don't know a single lesbian these days that's like, hey, WeHo? Question mark. I'm like, first of all, if I was invited, I'd probably scream.
no, immediate
In
decline.
fear. Yeah.
I will do an annual like camp gag of a visit to WeHo where
Sure.
I'm like, let's do the Abbey and then run away scared and remember why we don't do this.
Yeah.
And then we can laugh about it for a year.
It's called, growth. It's called reflection. And sometimes you have to regress to progress,
That's a
you
fact.
know?
That's
And
a
it's like,
fact.
I feel like the opposite with like with the WeHo in general, where it's like, you don't know you missed something until you like lose it or whatever.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know I hate it until I go back.
Yeah, it's like you have to taste a really foul food once in a while. Just be like, do I
Yes.
still despise this? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But you
Just
still
check.
check in. You have to
Yeah.
check. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
you're like, where am I now? It's kind of like a
Yeah.
self check in. You're like, it's like when you go to the
Yeah.
doctor, you're like, am I still fine?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. But you know what's crazy? I used to love WeHo, like growing up. It used to be
Mm-hmm.
better, or I was so young that I was just like, give me anything gay. And I was
Well,
just like,
from your
here we go.
stories that you've told me, I think it used to be a lot more lesbian.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like just gay men. And like, obviously, I'm an ally, like, love, love them. But it's like, girl, like, I'm not here to be besties with everyone in WeHo. I'm here because I want to see cute girls. That's why
Yeah.
I'm here.
And be with my people.
And be with my people. But it's
Yeah.
funny because there's like this new bar that opened, and like I went the other day. It's like in Echo Park, Silver Lake, the Ruby
Ruby
Fruit.
fruit? Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
it's
haven't
like,
been yet, but Ash just went and I've heard a bunch
yeah.
about it.
For me, I feel like the clientele is so random. It's like it's mostly lesbians, which is super exciting. But it's like lesbians who just turned 21, and then lesbians in their 40s. Like there's no real in between. So every time I go there, I feel like I'm just kind of in this like liminal space of age where I'm like, who do I talk to? The 40-year-olds or the 20-year-olds? Because I'm like, well,
The 20-year-olds are coming out because they're just like, give me anything gay to do and I'll take
right.
it. And then the 40-year-olds are like, this
We've
is my
waited.
monthly
Yeah.
glass of wine.
Right.
I'm good. I'll take it.
Right.
And then like our generation, us in the middle, are just like, I want a full experience.
I want
like
an entire experience.
yeah,
Exactly. I want to have like, I want to feel like there's even, oh my God, imagine having like a location switch. Like you start there and you go to another gay place. Like, why
the
can't
crawl.
we have, yeah, the crawl. There's no lesbian crawl.
No.
And we've been so delusional all these years thinking that WeHo was lesbian, but really it's not. And the
No.
L comes before the G and the LGBT, and sometimes we have to put ourselves first and just go home.
And just have a little game night.
That's what I'm saying. And then that's why we play board games.
Yeah. We need that level of stimulation. And we're
We're
not getting
bored.
it. Oh, yeah. We're
Yeah.
not getting it. We're not
We're
getting
not
it
getting
there.
it.
Speaking of
Exactly.
lesbian activities, did
Yeah.
you watch the lesbian Super Bowl last night, aka the Super Blue Moon?
I did actually. I even
What were
took
your
out a
thoughts?
telescope.
You
So
have a telescope?
no, my friend has a telescope. I literally felt like Galileo. I was like, this is this is it. This is it for me. Yeah.
Aristophanes?
Aristophanes. I was thinking of Aristophanes from Plato's Symposium. And
Got
then,
it.
yeah, that's where Aristocrates came from. But it's
Aristophanes.
Aristophanes. Yeah.
You know what? I'm here for it.
Whatever. Philosophy minor, whatever.
But wait, so what was it like? Was it blue? I was too lazy to actually.
No.
I was just feeling it.
So I also thought it was going to be blue. And then I was like, guys, it's not blue. And they were like, it's not actually going to be blue. And I'm like, why is it called a super blue moon? Because, it's the second full moon in a month. That's what makes it a blue moon. And it's a super moon. So it's a blue
What is the
moon.
blue? Where's the blue
The
coming?
blue. So the saying like once in a blue moon.
Yeah, but I
'Cause
thought
it's
that
like
came from the moon option.
so the blue moon. A blue moon is when there's two full moons in the same month. That's like the blue moon effect, but it's
But
not
they just
actually blue.
called it.
They
They
call it a
called it.
blue moon. Yeah, I don't know if that's like the Elvis
Mm,
with his, Blue Moon song. I don't know if that's like what did it for us. I don't know.
right.
But then, and then it's a super moon. So they just punched all these words together, made super blue moon. And I'm like,
Right.
guys, super confusing
Yeah.
because I'm over here looking at the telescope being like, girls, it's
What
not
is
blue.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we know.
Oh my God. I was getting
Yeah.
so much like manifesting. This is the day. This is the
Yeah.
supercharged. You have to do your manifest. And I was thinking of all the lesbians and like what they would be doing in this moment. Like, they literally have been waiting a lifetime to manifest on this day.
100.
Like they're trying to conjure up exes. They are
Yeah.
trying to like have new lesbian bars open. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
I had
do
to
know there's a lot of
sage.
activity.
Because I was like, if people are manifesting me, I need to like sage
Get
it
it
away. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, no. I put my moon water out and I was like, girl, this is all I can do. But I'm imagining like lesbians everywhere and like basically sitting on like their kitchen floor with like a bunch of candles all around them, like kind of just like looking up through their kitchen
Crystal.
window. Yeah, like this is just their witchcraftery of lesbianism.
Just full conjuring.
Yeah,
Full
fully.
conjuring vibes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I used to light love candles, but then I
Love
realized,
candles.
yeah, because you can get like these manifestation love candles. But then I manifested my ex, and I was like, okay, maybe there's no shortcuts, and I just need
Honestly, yeah. Like there's shortcuts for I feel like everything else in life if you want to get witchy, but like doing anything with love or other
no,
feelings is a big no. Like you're gonna fuck yourself.
yeah, I heard like love is one of the things that you shouldn't mess with when it comes to manifestation.
Yeah. It's like you're
It
just
comes with a price.
yeah, there's always gonna be something. It's like
Yeah.
if you ask I always think about this. I'm like, if a genie ever asked me what I wanted one day, how would I word it so that they couldn't like secretly fuck me? Like, did you ever watch that movie? I think it was called Bedazzled or like
I know what movie you're talking about, where basically they made their wishes and they were like innocent in theory, but then they had like some reverse.
yeah, some like really
Yeah,
fucked up.
yeah.
Oh my God, Brendan Fraser and
Yeah.
and this like hot old like British woman was playing the
Shador.
devil, and she's like, you have these three wishes, and so
Mhm.
he asks to be like the hottest guy that like, you know, has a killer body and women love him. But then she's like, all right, here you go. But then you have like a micro PP. Like
Period.
there's always there's
There's
always some
always a
cat or like
catch.
I'm so rich. I've got like everything in the world, but then he ends up being some like crazy drug dealer and gets killed because of I don't know, he's like
Yeah.
Pablo Escobar.
Right.
There's always a catch.
There's always a catch. I would probably, maybe I just wish for like Jeff Bezos' money.
I don't know.
That
I
way
feel like
I take his money, but then I feel
but
like
then
then
what
I'd
if
be
it's
on the
like
run.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like you'd have that, but then you'd have like all the legal troubles in the
Right.
world, and then
I know, because then yeah, you're so right.
no.
Because like I don't want if I asked for like $1 billion, then they would like rob the poor or something. Like they would like do
Yeah.
something so evil. So
Yeah. There's really
I'll have
like
to think about that.
yeah, really marinate on it.
Yeah.
Marinate for sure.
I'd probably maybe I'd just wish for like I'd be like I never want to have to shave my legs again or something.
I mean, that's just called laser hair removal.
Right. But then like how you can't really mess that up. Like it's so what are you gonna do?
But if it's like your legs are amputated, you don't have legs.
Oh my god, so right. They always find a way. They always
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
It's really dangerous. Why is my eye watering so bad? Okay,
It's the glow light.
I know it's like me. We're gonna do a little instead of fuck Mary kill, we're doing fuck Mary delete. And it's zodiac signs that
yes.
and
Okay.
and if we want to throw an extra thing, because I know you like know your shit, you can include their big three if you like.
Okay.
So if you're like, if it's like a Scorpio Venus, whatever.
Okay.
Fuck,
Love
Mary,
it.
delete zodiac signs.
Okay. Do you want me to just go through all of them, or are we going through 3 at a time?
Fuck, Mary, delete. Which one?
I'm deleting Libra.
Wow. Immediate Libra slander. Bold
Because
choice.
I know, but it's just because I've dated so many of them and I don't want to date any more of them. And if I just delete them, I solve my own problem.
Oh my God, I'm so offended. Okay, wait, why? What is like the worst stuff about Libras for you?
So I'm really compatible with Libra because the thing, I love Libras as friends. Like I love Libra. I have so many Libra friends. Like, sorry guys that I'm going to have to delete you all. I mean, it's like you have to win some to lose some, but I just can't suffer anymore. So the thing about a Libra is like the reason we're compatible is because they tend to be really charismatic. They tend to be very charming. And I love people like that. I naturally just want to be close to those kinds of people. They admire beauty and like I love pretty things. They love pretty things, like cute. But the thing is that I feel inherent in a Libra's psyche is a very subtle narcissism that it's more so that they don't do good because they are good, but they do good because they don't want to appear bad.
There's like another level of perception involved.
Yeah, there's another level of perception involved with everything that they do. So it's like when you think about like their motivation for doing things, like with most people, it's pretty straightforward where it's like, oh, I'm doing this because I love you. With a Libra, it's like, well, I need to prove that I love them. So therefore I have to do it. And then I'll look like a good partner. So it's like a lot of optics. And that extra layer kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Interesting. I'm just going to clarify. I'm not like that. I'm just genuinely a good person.
I thought about not saying
the air.
I thought about not saying
but I
Libra.
Get what you're saying.
Yeah. I thought about not saying Libra just because you're sitting right here. But I have to be real, I have to be honest.
No, I respect it.
I thought about saying Aries because that would be probably my second on the delete option.
Yeah.
Because the thing about an Aries, it's the opposite sign of a Libra. They have the same problems, but it's like just in a different way. It's like the inverse of the same problem. I would probably, fuck, marry, delete. I would marry a Gemini because
Interesting.
I know it's a hot take. A lot of people look at me funny, But I love Geminis. I think they're so funny. They're so chatty. They're so witty, lighthearted.
They're the best to chat with. I will say, like, my
100%.
Gemini friends are my favorite friends. Like,
I
I can
can
just
talk to them about anything
ways.
for hours.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like I don't have to carry conversation as much. Like they just, like they're, have you heard about this? And they're really excited to just like share knowledge with you. And
Yeah.
like, I think I'm a Gemini Venus. So like, that's like my love language is just like exchanging information.
Yeah.
So I love that. And they're like, kind of just like they're kind of floaty in that air sign way where it's like, nothing's really that deep. And it comes across more so like laid back than anything. But they are very flighty.
Yeah.
But if I marry them, they can't really be flighty. So I solved that problem.
So I actually I've dated a couple Geminis, but one that I dated who was married and fled the scene of their partner.
Oh,
I like, yeah. So they do take flight.
They do. Okay.
Just a warning. But like, I didn't really have much experience with Geminis before other than just friends. And she was like, she would call me before bed or literally like 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, call me. And I'm like, oh, she's thinking of me. And like, we would talk for hours. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, we're so connected. Like, this is like such a vibe. We've really got something special. And then I later realized like, no, you just like to talk and like, you'll do this with anybody.
Yeah. That is part of the thing. Yeah. It's like, oh, is it me? Or like, are you just like this with everyone?
Yeah. It's really hard to tell.
I would probably fuck, well, it depends because I love a fire, Mars. So like a Leo Mars, and Aries Mars, a Sag Mars, like, gorgeous. Maybe like, I think Aries, actually. I know I said I might delete them, but the reason I didn't delete them and I chose Libra over Aries is just because Aries on the fuck level, that's everything to me.
Yeah.
They are just like little crazy, cuckoo, crazy girls. And I'm like, okay.
They get a little psychotic and silly.
Yeah, they're just like so silly and crazy. And I'm like, I don't want a relationship with it, the idea of it all. But just for like, 1, maybe 2 times. Fantastic.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like
you have to answer now.
Mine?
Yeah.
I feel, you know what? I don't know if I can answer this authentically because my partner is a Taurus, so I already have to like.
Oh, so true.
Yeah, I'm taken. Sorry.
Well, you can marry a Taurus. You can fuck a Taurus, but who are you deleting?
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Pisces.
No,
Pisces men.
Okay.
Deleted. Pisces men. Deleted.
Oh my God, men were an option?
It just became an option. I don't know.
Oh my God. Men. Okay, I take Libra women back. Libra men are just as bad. If I could delete men, oh my God, that changes everything. I'm taking off Virgo men.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, that's just period. Libra women can stay. Virgo men are so annoying. I love Virgo so much. It's like one of my favorite signs. But Virgo men, when a Virgo woman explains something to me, I'm like, so sexy.
Yeah.
Love it. Keep explaining things to me. When a Virgo man does it, it feels like he's treating me like I'm a 6-year-old who doesn't know why the sky is blue.
It's just like the ultimate mansplain.
It's just the mansplaining, and then it's just like this arrogance that comes with it that really is so icky and disgusting. Okay, anyway, you were saying Pisces men.
Yeah, so definitely Pisces men. And I think I have one friend who's Sagittarius, female friend, love her, but everybody else.
I don't like Sagittarius as much either.
It's just, it's difficult.
Yeah.
They're difficult.
Yeah. Stubborn.
They take a lot of work. Yeah. And I also like dated one that was a full con artist, like lied about everything in their life. And I feel like I've told you the story. I must have.
I think you've told me this story.
Yeah. Chaotic. They were such. So I'm like, I think I think I could maybe do without that.
Yeah. I feel like the worst quality of a Sag is that they're really image conscious. And I feel like they'll go to great lengths to protect the version of themselves that they want to portray, which often can come out in like lying.
I could definitely see that. Yeah.
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 They're
And
like,
that
this is
makes
who
them
I
also
am. Let
like,
me prove it to you.
and then
Mm-hmm.
the insecurities are on like another level. And
One hundo.
sometimes when they can't keep the lie up, the insecurity takes over and it's like, whoa, yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
You actually started, or when I first came across you,
Yeah.
it was a mixture of like language content
Uh-huh.
and then I think you started doing like astrology gay stuff after. But I
Yeah.
was like, how many languages do you speak?
At present, I speak 5 fluently, but I can like be conversational in like 7. On a good
Yeah.
day, 8. Yeah.
Why? Like, why? I love it. But like, what
Why
possessed
would
you?
you do that? So I've always like, actually, that's a lie. When I was younger, my first language is Japanese, and I
Mhm.
was always speaking Japanese and whatever that happened. In high school, the option to learn Spanish was on the table, but I was like, oh, I'm bad at languages. Like, I just don't know. So I took Japanese in high school. And I always thought I was one of those people who was just like bad at languages. But then when I got to college, I met this girl who spoke French, and she and I would ride the bus together to go downtown to go to work. And so I would teach her some Japanese, and then she would teach me some French. And I actually just really enjoyed like learning that way, like through talking to people. So when I just became obsessed, like I just get like this is just my personality, where if I start to like something, I can't just like it a little, like I just get super
Yeah.
obsessed with it. So I got really obsessed with French. I started buying grammar books, and I was just like studying. I studied pretty much, I would say, like 4 hours a day for like, I don't know, 4 years
Oh my God.
French. And like I went to school in France, and like I was just around people getting to practice my French. And that was how the French thing happened. Meanwhile, on the side burner is I was dating a German person, and I wanted to learn German because I saw myself living in Germany, and I didn't want to be one of those foreign people who don't speak the language. So I
Yeah.
started learning German. And because my partner spoke German, it kind of felt like I wanted to, and we were both meeting in our second language. So I wanted to meet them in their first language, because there's like this, I don't know if it's like in the polyglot community, but they were saying like, if you speak to someone in their second language, you're speaking to their head. If you speak to someone in their first language, you're speaking to their heart. And I wanted to like really know my partner in that way. So I learned German, and I actually just really loved it. I still love the German language. I think it's underrated. A lot of people think it sounds gross, but like I think it sounds really nice. And then I learned Esperanto because afterwards, I just was like, okay, actually, I'm pretty good at learning languages. Let's just like learn
Wait,
something crazy.
what is that one?
Esperanto. So it's a language that was invented in the 1890s by this Polish guy who wanted to create a language to unite Europe. And it's like an amalgamation of a bunch of different languages. So you have like French, or it's like, I think it's 80% Latin, 10% Germanic, 9% Slavic, and like 1% like kind of randomly assorted from other languages. Like, for example, the word for chopsticks in Japanese is hashi. In Esperanto, it's also ohashi. So it's like this, they borrow a bunch
Interesting.
of words from a bunch of different languages. And that was really fun to learn because it taught me a lot about how to approach learning languages, because it's so grammatically regular that I was able to kind of like be like, oh, okay, well, here's how I can look at regular grammar and then apply it to learning irregular grammar, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I started learning Portuguese, and then I started learning Ukrainian, and
Ukraine?
yeah,
You
and like
you really like picked the like
yeah, I wanted a
most common
challenge.
ones in the state.
Yeah, I tried
Wow.
learning Italian for a few months, but it didn't stick. I didn't get like that obsessed. Um,
Mm.
like, ooh, I gotta learn it. So I've done that with a bunch of different languages. I recently tried to pick up learning Korean, but I just don't think I'm in like a language era right now. And that's fine. Yeah.
I feel like I would learn like I speak Farsi fluently
Hmm.
and English and like a fucking tiny crumb of French. But and my partner, she doesn't speak Spanish, but her whole family does. And I'm just
Mm.
like, I feel like we need to learn an additional language that's like a bit more niche just so we can have private conversations in public.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
I being in LA speaking Farsi, like, chances are somebody's gonna understand what you say, so I still have to be, like, low key if I'm talking shit with my dad. But we have to, like, whisper 'cause
So real.
yeah, somebody's gonna hear it. But I really I'm like, I wanna know something niche.
Yeah, I mean, Esperanto is like as niche as it gets. It's also like the easiest language in the world to learn. So like I learned how to speak it fluently in 3 months, studying 2 hours a day. So
What
like
the
literally learn it. No one's gonna know what the hell you're saying. It's so grammatically regular that like it's kind of hard to fuck up once you know what's going on. Yeah, it's super, super easy. There's a very active Facebook community. It's the only reason why I use Facebook is to talk to my Esperanto speakers. But yeah, I feel like the same because my mom and I speak Japanese to each other, and my mom lives in Hawaii, and everyone in Hawaii speaks Japanese, so we don't even have a secret language anymore. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You have to you have to be really careful about it.
Yeah.
Has it helped you? I mean, I feel like learning languages really, you use a certain part of your brain, like a certain muscle gets going in that area. Do you feel like that's helped anything else in your life?
I feel like, so my main, like, I would say my trade, if you will, like my skill set that I've applied myself the most in my life is probably writing. And it helps me when I'm writing because I'm thinking through the perspective of multiple different languages, because English is very limited in the way that we can express ourselves because it's a very direct language. Even when we speak in like metaphor or when we read, there is a lot of beautiful American poetry or like English poetry, but the way that we in other languages have to kind of go around the point a little bit more, and there's different words that kind of encapsulate different things that just don't exist in English. I feel like it helps you think about a different way to say things oftentimes. Like there's just so many different, more creative ways to write the same thought. Totally. And so, and a lot of the times when I'm like just going through my life, I feel like sometimes when I'm trying to describe how I'm feeling to myself in my head, sometimes a word from a different language will pop in there. And I'm like, there's really no way to like say this in English. So I kind of just sit with that emotion by myself, you know?
I get like that with Farsi all the time. Like there's certain words that I'm like, anytime I see my cats do something, I'm like, there's so many Farsi words that really like describe this so well, or something a kid's doing, or just literally anything. There's certain words that like, it's one word that means so much.
Right.
And you would have to take a full paragraph. 100%. Mean in English. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. One thing in like Japanese is we use a lot of like onomatopoeia, but it just like as just, you know, adjectives. So like, for example, pika pika is like, it is what it sounds like. It's like a like light that's kind of flashing. Like pika pika is like shiny, but like shiny doesn't really feel like what it really means, you know? So it's like, I'm like reducing the language into something that English can make out of it. And I feel like that's a good way to think about how English is kind of reductive sometimes when you're trying to elaborate on something like a very complex emotion that other languages have a name for, but we just kind of said, you know, this is good enough. Yeah. But that's really interesting. I actually wanted to learn Farsi at some point.
It's so fun. We have so many French words, like borrowed French words, like a ton.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of, like a bunch of my family members studied in France, like for medical school or college. Like it, especially back in the day, it was like very common to go to school.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know
why.
That
is super interesting.
I don't know how that happened. Cause like Persian culture has been around since like way like
the antithesis, or it's the like the antiquity. It's just been there.
Yeah. Like mad BC. Like,
I
don't know.
We put Mesopotamia.
Yeah, like Persian Empire. Have you heard of it? So for all of your little like gay bits that you do on TikTok, which are hilarious, like when you started doing like gay astrology vibes, but then you started doing this like bougie Blair Waldorf-esque lesbian parental situation.
Yeah.
And then the like gay Airbnb, or not Airbnb, what am I talking about?
Gay B&B. Yeah.
All of that, like where did that come from?
So with the lesbian parent, it's funny that you bring up Blair Waldorf because I was watching Gossip Girl at the time when I made that video for the first time. And I rewatch Gossip Girl like every other like Gen Z millennial cusper. I've watched it probably 8, 9, 10 times, like in full. And it was probably like my 9th watch through. And I feel this might be like a really hot take because I know a lot of people have a lot to say about the writing, but the way that they write these characters specifically is genius. It is just, it's a stroke of genius. Like they are so well written, the characters are, in terms of like the way that they speak. They have such a perfect character wrapped around, like it's a full person. Like Blair speaks in a certain way, you know what, if you heard anyone say a Blair like sentence, you'd be like, that's a Blair right there, you know? And so taking inspiration actually from Blair is specifically who I pulled a lot of inspiration from. And at the time too, I was playing Nintendo 64 Donkey Kong. And so it was like just what a combination. And so it was improvising that video, and I didn't even want to post it. I just wanted to improv something. So I just kind of set my camera up, improved it, and then I was like, it's kind of funny, let's post it. But that's literally how it came about. And I didn't even know like what would happen. And I posted it and I got off the app, and then I like went to sleep or whatever I did. And then I reopened it and it had like 14 million views. And I'm like, what the heck? But then people really wanted more of that kind of stuff. And then I kind of put it together later that like, I feel like there's just such a lack of representation, even on social media, like of just like lesbian people. And like our culture is so enigmatic to people who aren't a part of it. And like, there's so many crazy, silly things that we do that it's like almost gatekept by our community because we're so mysterious to society. And like, I didn't even to the extent that even I didn't know that this was normal. Like the things that I felt or the way that I was acting, I didn't know it was relatable at all because I thought this is just like who I am. But turns out I'm unoriginal, and like there's so many people who are like, oh my God, this is so me. And I'm like, okay. So yeah. And then with the B&B character, like I always wanted to have a B&B. Like that was just like a dream of mine since I was young. And like, I just wanted to kind of just for myself be like, okay, what would it be like if I had one?
Yeah.
And if I ran the front desk, because I just wanted this like really cunty, gorgeous B&B kind of thing going on. And I was like, if I had infinite budget and if I could do things to the extent of my imagination, like what would this experience be like? What would I want? And apparently a lot of other lesbians want it. And again, here I am being unoriginal and having everyone else's dreams. So
it's like, it's so funny though, because all of those things are like, yeah, maybe everybody, or not everybody, but like a lot of people can relate to it, but it's like nobody's put that stuff to words before.
Yeah.
And haven't had like, if we could have a SNL skit or an SNL type show that was only for lesbians, what stuff would be in there? Or if we had a Gossip Girl and it was just like lesbian Gossip Girl, what would all those characters
so tea. Like? Yeah, like, no, literally. Like, and
we don't get those things.
We don't get those things. Like, I want like a really like we had the L Word. And so it's like, that was like our last like trashy, like sitcom-y type show we had. But I'm like, I want Upper East Side lesbians who are trying to ruin each other's lives.
Yeah.
Like I want, and it's like, and I feel like, and here's my qualm with like where representation is, where it's at right now is like, I feel like normalization, which is like a buzzword, is like, I feel that to normalize things, we can't accentuate or rely on someone's sexual identity to be a driving force or motivation for a character's actions. Like if you are dependent on that character being a lesbian for the purpose of their story, like then you're not humanizing them enough. Like they need to be people who are doing normal things, and it happens to be that they're a lesbian. And that's more meaningful to me because I feel like the otherness or like the extraordinariness of like having it like a sexually different orientation than like say hetero, because that's so different to society. I feel like we look at it as like something that needs to be explained, but straightness is never something that's explained. It's just understood. But because we've seen so many things where it's like, it's no question, like, oh yeah, that's just what's going on. Whereas with gay people and gay TV and gay movies, I feel like there's so much emphasis on being like, this is a gay person. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's their story, and here's why you should see them as human. Where it's like meaningful representation in my eyes is like having just people who happen to have a sexual identity that is not straight existing and just showing like their life. And I feel like that's part of with like the lesbian parent and like the B&B, where I was thinking like, I just want to show these lesbian characters having just like a normal time. Like even like lesbian parents, like outside of like maybe the L word in a few movies here and there, like you don't really see like what that dynamic even looks like. Like I
Yeah.
don't even know any lesbians who have kids. So I'm just imagining what I would be like as a parent, or like what the most extreme version of myself would be like as a parent. And I feel like that's even why the video did well, is because that was such a peek into something that we don't really see.
Totally. We have like, I feel like if anything in media, we have either very far removed parents where it's just like, oh, they have two moms and like that's not explored.
Right.
Or it's, if there's anything, which like I can't even think of it, but I'm sure this exists out there, it's a little bit more like granola, flannel
Yeah.
type lesbian parents.
100.
And
Yeah.
that's it. And it really
Yeah.
sticks on the stereotype. And that kind of falls into like I just posted something. I was just thinking about Che Diaz because I like horrendous on have you watched the new Sex and the City
No.
or and so what's it called? And Just Like That? You haven't
Yeah,
watched
yeah,
it?
yeah. I haven't watched it.
Oh my
I
God.
one of my friends watched the first episode and then told me not to watch it.
You have to watch it. It's camp. Like you have to watch it. But
Is
it's
that?
so yeah. Like I'm an OG Sex and the City
Yeah.
fan. So I was like, I have to watch it even if I don't love what's happening
Yeah.
here.
That's how I felt about the Gossip Girl reboot.
Yeah, I pushed through it. It didn't
I pushed
do
through
it
it.
for me.
No.
Yeah. But this one they have Che Diaz is played by Sarah Ramirez,
Mm-hmm.
who was like a doctor on Grey's Anatomy back in the day, and now
Yeah.
they came out as non-binary, and they're playing this non-binary character that is Miranda's
Oh.
love interest because Miranda's as
Yeah.
the actress, she's a lesbian in real life and was like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to, like have my storyline as Miranda reflect who I
Mm-hmm.
really am. So they plop Che in, and Che's whole thing, which it's written so poorly.
Of
They're
course
a
it is.
stand-up, they're a stand-up comedian, and their whole bit is that they're non-binary and everything about being non-binary. And it's like people not understanding being non-binary in their real life, and then the relationship stuff. And it's like it's just done in such a way that feels so like tokenizy and corny
100.
and really like we want to check off a box that we got a non-binary character, so
Right. Let's talk about how non-binary they are.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like if a cishet person wrote a non-binary character,
Yeah.
it's very much that.
I feel like I totally get that. And I feel like when I was on reality TV, when everyone else got like, hi, my name is so and so, and like I work in blah blah blah. My intro was, my name is Hina, I'm non-binary, like as my job. Like it was like a whole identifier where it's
Yeah,
like that, and I feel like that's what people think representation is. Whereas I feel like representation, it's like if you just saw two people, a non-binary person and like a cisgendered person having a conversation, and they start referring to the non-binary person using their pronouns that they prefer, and just not even talking about a non-binary experience, but just being like, just, and I feel like this is like just the key in writing is like show, don't tell. Like we don't need to tell everything about the character. Let's reveal it slowly and in a meaningful way, because you're not doing anyone justice by over explaining. Because I also feel like that turns people off who are not open-minded to understanding what the experience really is, because you're like, oh, this is different, I don't really get it, I don't, whatever. Whereas if you just do it slowly over time, like even like stories about adoption, like back in the day when people weren't adopting all the time, it was like this like super phenomenalized thing, when it's like it's so normal just to adopt a kid. Like it's not this like tragic story about this kid who, you know what I mean? And then like there's so many happy stories about adoption, and it's like we don't need to traumatize a story to make it worth something. Like, and I feel like that's just the queer experience in general, and how it's been portrayed is like it's rooted in trauma, and that's how we tell it. Where there's so many stories of queer joy that don't have to be, exploited in that way.
Totally. There's
Yeah.
actually the reboot of Pretty Little Liars. One of
Mm-hmm.
my friends is on it,
Yeah.
and he plays this
Oh,
character, Ab.
Jordan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah.
So actually, I had him on this show like earlier this year. So if anyone hasn't seen that episode, go watch it. Jordan's
Go watch
amazing.
it.
But so Jordan plays this character who is a trans high school boy, and the way it's written, I'm like, please, can everyone take note? This is how to do representation in a really like tasteful way, because even for the first few episodes, it's not even mentioned that he's trans.
Period.
It's not mentioned at all, and then it just comes up really organically in a conversation. And at one point, he's explaining like how chill his mom was when he came out, and like how it was no
It
big
wasn't
deal.
like this big deal.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
It wasn't a storyline. It wasn't this big like focal thing. It just, they had a normal high school boyfriend girlfriend love experience, and one of them just happened to be a trans dude.
And that's like, and I feel like that's what we need to be doing. Like that is exactly, just like make it normal. Like why are we trying to make it so crazy?
Yeah, like you're making it weird.
You're making it so weird. Even as like a queer person watching it, I'm like, this is getting weird, you guys.
It's cringy. Like this,
it's cringe.
The Sex and the City spinoff, whatever. I mean, spoiler in case anyone gives a shit about the show and watches it or whatever. So Miranda and Che, like they're an item, and then they end up breaking up. And I was like, thank God, because if I have to see one more
bit about non-binary,
one more bit about non-binary, one more bit about like Miranda trying to figure out like, what is the strap-on harness? Whoa.
Oh my
God,
not this.
So many comments. I literally was like, what is that onesie cat toy? Like, that's not even a thing. Like, this is so overdone. Yeah. And it was so cringy that everyone I know was just like, ugh. Yeah. But that's what I was even thinking of. So I just posted this thing on Instagram of like with a little poll. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you have to pick one couple that you are going to share a house with for the rest of eternity. Yeah. Choose wisely. And it was Jenny Schechter and Shane from The L Word, or Che and Miranda.
And people picked Jenny. Did people pick Jenny and Shane over? Is that how bad it is?
Let's check.
Let's check the results. Because if more people choose Jenny and Shane, then that's how you know it's really bad.
So like 65%
said Jenny and Shane.
That's how bad. That's how bad.
That's really bad. That's really bad. You would, I mean, if it's between like dying and sharing a house with like Shane and Jenny, that's probably the only extreme, because my will to live is pretty high these days. That's probably the only extreme in which I would choose living with them. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's real. Like you have to at least like watch it so you understand how heinous.
Yeah,
how truly heinous. But I do really wish that. I mean, I'm grateful that we have so many creators like yourself and so many people who are doing the work to have more accurate representation and more diverse representation in media.
Yeah, likewise.
We need something.
We need something, girls. Like, yeah, we literally need something. Here. We're hungry. And I feel like even with like my favorite lesbian movie of all time is The Handmaiden. Like it's just
same. It's
everything. So good because one, the word lesbian is not dare uttered. It's just it's like obviously this shit's gay.
Yeah.
The girls aren't like, oh my God, are we gay? Like they're just like falling in love, and you're like, period. And it's not tragic inherently.
That's what
That's what like I love. One movie, because like even Portrait of a Lady on Fire, like I hate the idea of like, I know it's like the time, but it's fiction, girls. We can make shit up. Like it's fiction.
We don't have to end so tragically.
Yeah, like they did give us like, you know, one of the most iconic, you know, scenes with the Vivaldi violins. But I'm like, listen, I can't be doing this. Okay. Yeah. Like, can we make a movie with a happy lesbian ending? Because I'm sick.
Yeah. I can't weep and be like, well, she ended up with a man. Darn.
Like, I'm sick of it.
Come on. But yeah, the ending of that, I was like screeching in the theater. Like, yes. I was
I was literally like, I felt like I was like at mass. Like I was literally like hands up, like just like hallelujah. It's so good and it's beautifully shot and like I love the outfits. I love the set design. Stunning, gorgeous. The books, the scene in the fucking library. Oh my God. I'm gonna watch it after this probably.
I know, same. I haven't watched it in like a year.
Same. I'm a little overdue.
Same. I'm curious too, because like by doing all of this content and these different characters and these different bits that you're giving to people who maybe just they've never seen anything that I don't know represents them or that they vibe with. Has there been any part of it that's kind of cathartic for you, or like has that been a thing behind any of this?
Yeah, I mean, just like on a personal level, it feels really good to express myself in a way that feels really like removed from how I normally express myself. Because contrary to like a persona I typically play online, I'm not that over the top. But I am a very dramatic person. So it's really fun to like just have a space where I can just go crazy. And like I said, like writing is the only thing that I've really spent my life doing. So telling stories and making stories and having people resonate with the stories is like precisely my life's greatest joy. Like that is what I want to do with my life. And so in that way, it feels like a giant release, very cathartic in that way. But I also feel like the limitation of being a social media person, which is, it's never what I like intended or set out to do. Like I never was like, I'm going to be a TikTok. Like that's never what the plan was. I wanted to pursue writing as like a genuine career and I wanted to tell stories and I still want to. So, but being pigeonholed into being like an online personality is kind of limiting in that like people don't take you as seriously because they're like, oh, you just kind of do stuff on an app, where it's like, no, I swear to God, I've been like working on this skill set my entire life. Like, no, I have good ideas. Like, oh no, I have a story that I feel like, and it's kind of frustrating in that way. Cause I feel like for some reason, the idea of like a social media person kind of diminishes credibility in rooms where the stories that we are telling on social media need to be told, and you of all people have the experience and the storytelling skill, but it's like, oh well, you're not this, that, or the other,
right?
So the biggest thing that I feel like I've faced in terms of trying to like expand myself is like feeling limited by what I'm known for, and kind of just like the broadness of that.
I feel like a lot of people can probably relate to that exact sentiment of being limited by what you're known for.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to kind of break past those perceptions and expectations that others may have of you, especially if you don't have a really like intense confidence and ambition that overpowers any self-doubt or any of the negativity somebody might throw at you in a judgmental moment. So how do you not let that get the best of you?
Well, I feel like I have to remember that, well, I compartmentalize like this is my job and this is what I have to do. And I feel like my dream is still like I want to be about a New York Times bestselling author. It's been my dream since I was literally 5. So this is like the one thing that I really want to do with my life. And because I love it and because I want it so bad, it actually doesn't matter to me because I've changed the way that I've thought about writing. Is like, this is what you care about. This is what you love. And it doesn't even matter if people like what you write. It doesn't even matter if people even resonate with it, but it's just something that feels really personal to myself. And like, I am going to publish and I'm not going to keep it like a private art form, but this is the one thing that I'll let myself not feel the weight of judgment by. Because I feel like everyone, to express yourself or to be like an artist in any capacity requires bravery, and it requires a leap of, faith into the void of judgment and all these things. And I feel like inherently art is a protest of being confined as a person, because an art is greater than yourself. It's the only thing that lasts after, you're gone. And so in order to have that it's like the cost weight, right? Like in order to have that, you have to be incredibly brave, but the payoff is so much greater than, you know, a little bit of fear. So I feel kind of just in general, I think compartmentalizing different aspects of myself helps me combat a lot of the things that I feel. It's almost like different pieces of myself, like different whole people. There's like the person who I am when I'm writing, and then the person that I am when I'm performing for work. And I'm sure a lot of people have that, where it's like, you know, you clock in and you're like, hi, what can I do for you today? And then, you know, you clock out and you're like, hey, bitch, what's up? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people end up having to clock in for different, even if it's not just work, they're clocking in
Yeah.
for who they are performing that day and who they're around.
Yeah.
And maybe
Mhm.
it's like code switching vibes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I want to be this person and I can only be this person around these people.
Yeah.
But it's really so helpful to have that ability to do that and take advantage of that. And that's definitely a skill to develop, and giving yourself the permission to be free and, you know, be this version of yourself that you really want to be or really
Yeah.
are in the spaces that you can, like, even if it's for 5 minutes
5
a day,
minutes. Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
yourself that bit of time to just like do you.
Yeah. And I feel like everyone, like, regardless of what that looks like for you, needs that. Like, whether that be like, you know, the 5 minutes that you're making yourself coffee in the morning exactly how you like it, whether that be, you know, maybe your hobbies, like you like to crochet, and like in that moment you're just sitting there crocheting and nothing else in the world's gonna bother you because you're just in your own little space, in your own little zone, doing your own little thing. And I feel like, especially with like the age of social media, I feel like there's a lot of like this impulsive need to almost overperform everything you're doing in your life for some form of like validation or some form of like proof of like, I'm doing something, like what you know what I mean? I'm applying myself. And it's the same reason why we like go on social media. It's like a form of escapism. We're also trying to escape from our actual life because we're putting ourselves on there so much that it's like we're performing even then, and it's so integrated into our lives in the way that we like just move through our day. It's like, oh, here's my breakfast, here's my blah blah blah. Whereas I feel like when you compartmentalize, you can assign and give permission more intentionally for when you show up in certain spaces. Because, for example, like, it's not even an impulse for me to post anything that I'm doing ever. Like, I never think about it. And that's been really healthy for me because I feel like I'm not performing as much when I clock out.
Right.
But you know what I mean? It's just like the excessive need to perform all the time kind of strips you of like your own self, because you really never get those moments.
Present.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So many people are like, they're taking pictures of their food before they eat it, and they make sure everything, like, they can't just be in a moment.
Yeah.
And that's
and so like, yeah, it's like, and I don't want to sound like a boomer or anything like that. Like, take your pick, like, live your life, but also like be intentional about it. Like, maybe, you know, not every time, like, maybe be like, I just want to actually enjoy this with you, or enjoy it with myself. You know, we don't need to be doing all that all the time.
Yeah.
Just like enjoy, you know?
It's just like how I don't have many pictures with some of my closest friends.
Period. Same.
Because I'm like, I'm with you. I'm in it. Like, my phone is there. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm engaged with just the vibe, and that's it. Nothing else needs to come in and interrupt that. Or the vibe 100% all the time.
Right. Or you just like forget because you're just so there. You're just like, I'm not even thinking about taking a pic with you. Yeah, like whenever it's my friend's birthday, I'm like trying to find like a picture to be like, oh my God, look at this picture of us. And I'm like, girl, we have one picture together from like 2018. Like, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of, that's how you know. That's how you know certain people are like,
the less photos you have with them, the closer you are.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Unless they're your partner, and then that's something different.
True.
Yeah.
There's definitely science to that.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you that I asked everybody, and it's
Okay.
kind of, I guess it falls into the same realm of like escapism. But if you could have your dream creative zone, this is literally like nothing, physics, science, like nothing matters. You could be on the moon, in the water, like whatever can be in there, no rules. What would that look like?
Okay. I would want to live, or I'd want to work. I'd want like a super high ceiling. I'm talking like 16 to 18-foot ceilings. And I'm in basically a glass apartment. Like there's like a sunken living room, and like my desk is somewhere in that mix. It's like all like no full walls. It's all kind of just like half walls, and everything's kind of see through, overlooking. And it's also nighttime. Okay, it's like 2 a.m. The moon's out. You can see it through the window. I'm like on maybe the 53rd floor, and there is an entire city all around it, but it's a city. We're in the year 2130. And it's like basically imagine like Shibuya, like Tokyo, like super neon lights everywhere. Like there's like flying cars all around. It's kind of like sci-fi, like very like cyberpunk, like, you know, like that synth wave type of vibe. And there's like a hum in the background of like just the flying cars, like that hovering sound, like, you know, like that kind of thing. It's kind of all around. And then there's like ambient music in the background. And I have like a fountain that's also just like behind me somewhere. And my kitchen's like gorgeous. I have like a floating counter back there. And yeah, and I have like this like robot that comes and like gives me a drink every 30 minutes so I can keep writing. And I have an appointment in like 3 hours at like 5 a.m. with like my Live Forever specialist who's like helping me like stay young at 100 and something years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd probably be my creative workspace.
Honestly, like I'm gonna time travel because I need to see that.
Yeah. I'm 3D modeling it actually. Like that's a place that actually exists in my universe that I'm writing in my book.
Okay. I was like, this is very detailed. I feel like you've thought about it before.
I have thought about it. I want to be there.
Okay. And then I have one last question. I need you to pick a number 1 through 10 because I have really fucking random questions.
7.
7. Let me scroll through here. If you were the ruler of the world, who would be your top advisor?
Let me just take that in. My top advisor, I have like a couple of contenders. I have like a cabinet that I like just thought about. Greta Thunberg.
Okay.
Yeah. The like teenage environmentalist.
Yeah.
She has points. Like we need her.
And she like doesn't give a fuck. She's out there.
No, like, she's like out there, and I feel like she has like really good ideas. Bernie's in my cabinet because like I just want to give him his shot, you know. I like need I need his moment.
Yeah.
I would also have Lady Gaga as like my like just there to kind of like be just like there. Moral support, and also like she would have a lot of good ideas for integrating like queers more healthily into society, and she would have like a lot of like social ideas, I feel. And then for like world domination's sake, I feel like I need like a Beyonce or Shakira type beat in my cabinet because like from a PR perspective, like then I have a lot of credibility because like Beyonce and or Shakira or like Rihanna, they are like on my team. Like they want the world to be a better place. Maybe I'd have Rihanna as like my financial person, like, or Beyonce, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like the Secretary of Treasury.
Right. Exactly.
Wow,
I feel like I over answered your question, but it's a mix.
I honestly am like, I'm
period.
Well, shit. Thank you. On that note.
Yeah. Are we saying goodbye soon?
We're about to wrap it up. Do you have any last bits of wisdom since you are almost an elder like me?
Since I'm approaching 30. I actually have a question for you. because one thing that a lot of people may not know about Lauren's impact is that as a 20-something gay, having a gay like you in my life is so critical and so important because you have such rich queer experiences that were happening during the queer renaissance, i.e. the 2000s and 2010s. Like, that is so imperative. And it's a lot of experience that maybe other queer people can benefit from hearing about. So if you, from your own queer experience, had a piece of advice for new gays or young gays, what would you say?
That's hard because there's so much.
There's so many.
I could literally write a book. I'm like,
you should.
Advice related to what? What facet? I guess with dating, it would be heads up, you're going to feel a lot. And just because you feel a lot doesn't mean the person is right.
So true.
Oh my God. Doggy cameo. Hi, Yoshi.
Oh, hi, Yoshi.
So don't rush to settle down with somebody just because you've got a lot of intense feelings. Like, really, like, vet it out first. Like, give it a few months to really know. I think that's one for sure. And then related to coming out stuff, I've mentioned this many times, but it can't be overstated. If somebody you love and care about, family, friend, whatever, is not immediately ecstatic about you sharing who you are with them, that's okay, because a lot of people really do come around. And I think being a bit more understanding about why somebody might need a minute to come to terms because they have a whole life of beliefs and things that they've really constructed in their head that they need to take down. And that takes a minute sometimes. So don't let that crush your soul, because that's their work they need to do. And it's not anything about you being not worthy, not good enough, or a problem. It's their shit. They'll deal with it. Just give them a minute. And God, what else? I can't even, I feel like there's so much.
There's so much. I mean, I feel like that, especially like the dating advice, I needed that even like a year ago.
Oh, actually I have another good dating one that I've given this advice to one of my like much younger friends. She's been in situationships, and she's like, I've told the girl I don't like want anything serious with her, but she has feelings for me. She wants something more. And she said, it's fine if we just like hook up, but I know she has feelings and she knows I don't. And I was like, that's not going to end well.
Right.
It has it. And this is like science. And she said, yeah, you were right to the fucking day.
Yeah.
You get a month. When something's not right with somebody, if you are not on the same page, you have a month of things feel really good. People are maybe on good behavior, or like we just reconnected after a fight. It feels fine. Once you start approaching that 1 month mark, all the like good behavior facade shit comes down. So like, just know you have an expiration date.
100%.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it in like the 1 month timeline, but I'm thinking about all my past experiences and I'm like, you are so right.
It's a month. It's a month every time.
And I feel like one thing that, like, bouncing off of that you cannot overstate is that when you and someone else are not going to the same place in life, like your goals and values do not align in that way, they never will.
Yeah.
You cannot force or make someone want what you want out of life. Like, it has to be something intrinsic to like what they want and what they need, because there is going to be someone who aligns with you to an extent where it's like you're not compromising as much of your life.
Yeah.
And I feel like no matter what, if you're not going to align, you're just not going to align, and you're not going to be going to the same place, and it's always going to end
totally
tragically.
There could be some detours involved, like, but if at the end of the day you're like, I don't know, 2 airplanes or 2 missiles that have your destination programmed in, maybe you can like ride next to each other for a while,
right?
Detours off your path to go on theirs, but eventually you can't change. You just can't.
Like if one of you wants kids and the other one doesn't, chances are you're not going to agree at one point. Okay, fine, we can have kids. Like, it needs to be like with big life things. You're like, oh, I want to move to I don't know, like Argentina, and your partner doesn't want to move to Argentina, like, girl, they're never going to move to Argentina for you.
Or if they do, like, fine, I'll have kids, fine, I'll move, fine,
It's
if they don't want
resentment.
it, even worse. Like,
Yeah, that's worse.
buckle up. It's going to be a fucking
it's giving divorce.
Messy. All of your life savings, goodbye. Like, get ready.
Period. Yeah,
that's my other advice. Everybody needs a prenup. I don't know why.
That's like one of the first things you ever told me.
I feel like people don't talk about this enough. It has such a bad rep. I'm like, this is great for everybody. You get to negotiate whatever you want. You get to be like,
it's a custom contract.
Yeah. Do you want your own custom version or the one that the government
the government
ew, you can't trust
don't like her?
No. Yeah. When has the government ever had our best interest in mind? No.
Never.
No. DIY.
Never. DIY.
You have your own contract. It's just,
and that's just a learn being a DIY queen.
I've really been
rebrand. Rebrand as a DIY girly.
Honestly, I'm like, the amount of stuff I'm constantly doing around, like, I bought new cat furniture and I was like, well, the wood needs to match all of the wood in my house.
Shut up. So you redid the wood?
Yeah. Fully.
You like stained it?
Yeah. Fully restained.
Honestly, queen behavior.
I know,
that's queen
like,
behavior.
Yeah. I really outdid myself that time.
I just thought of like this thing that you need to do. You should ask people, even on your podcast, you need to ask them, okay, you're writing up your prenup. What's your most controversial addition to your prenup? Or you should make a TikTok series called My Dream Prenup, and you should just talk about the things that you're adding to your prenup, because that's tea.
That's
funny.
There's so much specific shit you can put in.
There's so many things in there.
Like, you could literally put in, you have to, like, buy me a chocolate bar
once a week.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you don't, I get to take your entire life.
I get to get a divorce. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually
something to think about.
Well, on that note, let's wrap this bitch up. Thank you so much for doing this. This was so fun.
Oh my God, this is so fun. I feel like we were just having a talk.
I know.
I forgot we were recording it. That we were just on FaceTime at some point.